and welcome to the Narrowing Path, Walking the Spiritual Walk. My name is Steve Van Eiderstein. Thank you for joining me today for another daily meditation, and I hope everyone's enjoying these as we go along. This last couple have been a new structure, and it looks like this one's going to be as well, so I'm excited about that. I've enjoyed the last 2 days worth of meditation. It has that disciple master kind of teach me, and there's a lesson, explicit lesson there, right? So that's really cool, and I enjoy it this way. It's a nice little switch up here. So this year we've been reading James Allen's daily meditations, and it's been a fantastic journey. If anyone's just recently joining me and hopping on and taking a listen to these. So if you want, you can go buy the book and follow along on a daily basis, or any of his other books are fantastic. So this will be fresh to you and fresh to me, excuse me, meaning this will be my first time reading or hearing the meditation right on this podcast. So you'll get my genuine response, reactions, observations, and what I relate to about the reading. So here we go. This is James Allen's daily meditation for April 25th. Blessed is he who obeys the truth. He shall not remain comfortless. This goes in the main part where it's the master and disciple again. Disciple, what are the greater and the lesser powers? The master replies, hear me again, O disciple. Walking faithfully the path of discipline and perfection, not abandoning it, but submitting to its auspices, thou wilt acquire the 3 lesser powers of discipleship. Thou wilt also receive the 3 greater powers. The greater and the lesser powers will render thee invincible. Self-control, self-reliance, and watchfulness. These are the 3 lesser powers. Steadfastness, patience, and gentleness. These are the 3 greater powers. When thy mind is well controlled when thy mind is well controlled and in thy keeping, when thou reliest upon no external aid but upon truth alone, and when thou art ceaselessly watchful over thy thoughts and actions, then thou wilt approach the supreme light. Thy darkness will pass away forever, and joy and light will wait upon thy footsteps. That was an awesome reading. I've read a good chunk of James Allen's stuff, and I've got to say, I've never seen this spelled out in this way. The 3 lesser powers, the 3 greater powers, the principles or disciplines more so, and then those 3 lesser powers are disciplines that give you, I feel like, the 3 greater powers of character, right? Or maybe they're all just characteristic or parts of your character. But yeah, I love this. This is amazing. This is each one mentions some sort of gift we'll get from it, and a lot of times it's love, or it's peace, calmness, wisdom, strength, but to really see this laid out like this is very clear cut, which I always say I appreciate, and encouraging, and gives hope, and anything that gives hope is a good thing in my mind, for sure. So I'm kind of excited to see where this to break this down and to read it again, honestly. So let's go ahead and we'll kick it back off. Blessed is he who obeys the truth. He shall not remain comfortless. So the truth of living a spiritual life, the truth of practicing spiritual principles in our lives on a daily basis, regardless of our feeling towards them, right? Like, we're honest regardless of how we feel about being honest. We might be scared of it. We might be excited about it. We're kind regardless of how we feel, if we feel like being kind. We practice forgiveness. We practice discipline. We practice service. We practice all of these hope and courage and love and integrity and all of these things. And practice them regardless of how we feel about them, right? That's the truth we're following, and the truth we're obeying. That's the spiritual life we're talking about here. So let's go into the main part of it. And the disciple simply asked one line from the disciple, and then this one. What are the greater and the lesser powers? Very simple question. A question I didn't know I could ask, or should ask, if I'm honest with you. It's pretty interesting to see it presented in this way. And now the master replies. I really like it's interesting just to know that there's a greater and a lesser power in this categorization he has. So the master replies, "Hear me again, O disciple." So he's giving him reassurance yet again. Walking faithfully the path of discipline and purification. So we talked about that yesterday and the day before, that purification of soul, that purification of mind, the purification of our actions, right? So walking that path faithfully and in a disciplined manner. Like I said, we take actions because they're the right thing to do, not because we feel like doing them. Not abandoning it, but submitting to its austeries. Let me look that up for us here. Austeries. Sternness or severity. So, by submitting to its sternness and severity, thou wilt acquire the three lesser powers of the discipleship. Thou wilt also receive the three greater powers. So through faithfully walking the path of discipline and purification, not abandoning it, but submitting to its sternness, its rules. Absolutely. Submitting to its rules, absolutely. Thou wilt acquire the three lesser powers of discipleship, not discipleship, discipleship. Thou wilt also receive the three greater powers. So that's kind of interesting. So I put in the work to get the three lesser powers. I acquire them. I obtain them, like I achieve them. And then I'll also be given the three greater powers, right? So it's kind of a meet you halfway. I have to put the work in to achieve those three lesser powers and to practice them in a disciplined and faithful way to this program. And when I do that and I achieve these lesser powers, right? Then I'm given the three greater. That's pretty amazing. And the greater and the lesser powers will render the invincible. Well, that's quite a statement, isn't it? That's a huge statement there. Just one to that you could run away with, really. You know, how beautiful an idea is that, or how encouraging of an idea that it will make me invincible, unshakable. Nobody can harm me. Wow. Quite a blessing that is. Self-control, self-reliance, and watchfulness. These are the lesser powers. So self-control, self-reliance, and watchfulness. I feel like this is probably, I wonder if this lines up. At the end of As a Man Thinketh by James Allen, he says, self-control is strength. That's mentioned here. Right thought is mastery. And calmness is power. So I guess this lines up with those, honestly, that purification. That's what the calmness comes from, the self-control comes from, and the right thought comes from, right? And I believe that is put in a way of how it is meant to be worked, too. You first have to practice self-control, and then the thoughts behind your actions come to the surface and become very prevalent. And then you're able to see where those thoughts about the action come from. That's our intention, right? That's our intention there. So that's what it's talking about here. Self-control, self-reliance, and watchfulness. These are the three lesser powers. Those are the ones we work on. That's the work we show up with. Now it tells us what the three greater powers are. Steadfastness, patience, and gentleness. These are the three greater powers. Steadfastness. I like that he leads with that one, because I think that's where a lot of us, I'll speak for myself. I feel like for myself, I've always wanted to feel steadfast, to feel sturdy, to feel committed to who I was, where I was, and what I stood for. Right? And when you have these three lesser powers, you're gifted with steadfastness. You're gifted with peace. You're gifted with strength and resolve. Those are beautiful gifts. Those are life-changing gifts. Steadfastness. In a world so full of changing perspectives and opinions and flexible moral values, we'll say, to have steadfastness, to be committed to what you believe is to be right, is rare. It's very rare. Then, of course, patience is the second greater power. Steadfastness, patience. It's the ability to allow things to be and allow things to operate the way they're going to operate, the way they're going to unfold. You take the actions due to you, placed in front of you, but no more and no less. And we let patience guide our interactions. We let patience embody us, so the right thing does happen. And the last one he says is gentleness. The ability to be kind, the ability to be loving towards all, to remove all resentment and judgment from your heart, in your thoughts and your actions. Gentleness is a virtue because it is chosen. There was work done there. There was effort put in to being able to be gentle. Then it is a choice every time to practice gentleness and kindness and love. Love primarily, because those spur from love. So steadfastness, patience, and gentleness. These are the three greater powers. When thy mind is well controlled and in thy keeping, when thou reliest upon no external aid but upon truth alone, and when thou art ceaselessly watchful over thy thoughts and actions, then thou wilt approach the supreme light. These are the things we have to do when thy mind is well controlled and in thy keeping. Since when I command my mind, I am not this victim of my own thinking. When I instruct my mind like I instruct my body, right? Because I believe we are made of three parts: mind, body, soul. Mind, body, spirit. Mind, body, energy. So, when you can separate your personality, when you can separate your essence from your mind, and you realize your mind is meant to be used for our benefit, it is not who we are. As like our body Our body is not who we are. Our body grows, our body changes, our body evolves. We cannot define ourselves by our body just as much as we cannot define ourselves by our minds. So with that perspective, we get the ability to actually take control of our minds. And that's what he's talking about here. When thy mind is well controlled and in thy keeping, we think the thoughts we want to think. Pure thoughts, positive thoughts, healthy, loving thoughts. When thou reliest upon no external aid, but upon truth alone. When you can steadfastly and resolutely stand there, right, upon your honesty, your integrity, your love, your hope, your faith, your everything, when you stand on your principles and your morals, which is the truth he's talking about here, relax not thy faith in, that was the wrong line. When thou reliest upon no external aid, but upon truth alone. When we don't need that opinion of others to guide our hands, we understand that to be honest and to live a spiritual way of life requires these things, demands these things. And so we know how to act, we know how to behave, we know how to conduct ourselves. Truth alone will guide us. And when thou art ceaselessly watchful over thy thoughts and actions. So maintaining that watchful eye, that perspective, that willingness to look at our part in things, that willingness to really get into where I need to improve and where I'm functioning or thinking from. Because we won't be perfect. This is not just a single switch, but there's a lot of growth in it. And there's the path for continued growth and is just wide open. And it's a beautiful thing. So when those three things are met, then thou wilt approach the supreme light. We have to bring those disciplines, those practices, those spiritual ways of living to the table. And when we can do that, we will approach the supreme light. Whatever that means. Truth, God, Creator, whatever it might be for you. And he ends this with, thy darkness will pass away forever, and joy and light will wait upon thy footsteps. So upon your arrival, upon doing this work for a length of time and growing in it, the darkness will pass away forever. That's a beautiful promise. So, all right. We're going to wrap it up there. Another, I don't even know, invigorating reading with some great content about what we have to bring to the table and what we'll be given if we do. What a beautiful, beautiful reading that was. So thank y'all for joining me today. I know we ran a little bit long, but I really like talking about this one. We have a Facebook page. You can go over and give a like and a follow if you so see fit. Also, we are on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor, and Amazon Music. So it's on Amazon and Audible. So thank you all for joining me today. I look forward to tomorrow's. Quick glance over. It doesn't look like it's going to be another one of those disciple and master ones. So go back to the old format. But I'm looking forward to it. So thank you all again. Until next time. Thanks.